Hello and welcome to my channel. It's the Network Specialist. Please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit that notification bell so that you know each and every time I upload a video. Everything I will discuss in this video is alleged and in my very own opinion, used for entertainment purposes only. Now let's get into it. So, as you can see on my thumbnail, Ja Rule should have never entered the conversation, okay? Um, he just should have sat back and ate his food because he has brought back up some allegations that was put out there, about him and Diddy, and we're going to get all into it, okay? So I want to share this first clip, and obviously it's going to be about Ja Rule since he decided to step into the group chat. So let me go ahead and pull that up. So I'm pretty sure this got by a lot of people, and a lot of people didn't know about these allegations until he decided to step into the group chat. So now he has been exposed to even more people about this allegation. Okay. And let me go ahead and remove this so that you guys can see it. Okay. So it says, Ja Rule posted, let me be clear. This ain't about Diddy. He's already in jail serving time as he should be. This is about this sucker, Curtis, acting like he's hip hop moral savior, going on TV with them tight ass, nasty suits and that big ass jug head when you know different, allegedly, with the laughing emoji. I wonder when it went wrong. They look so happy together. Okay. So that's what Ja Rule had to say. And of course, there's a picture of Diddy and 50 Cent in the pool. I don't see it attached to this, but however, I do have it. And the caption says, Ja Rule shares a few words about 50 Cent in the wake of his documentary on Diddy and says he thinks he's going to make a documentary of his own. 50 responded to his post by sharing a 22 clip of Gene Deal speaking on an alleged incident involving Diddy and Ja Rule, which we're about to get into. So, Ja Rule also said, I think I'm going to start doing docs. There's a lot to unpack here, allegedly. So he went on further. And so he also decided to post a clip of 50 Cent issues public apology to ex girlfriend after abuse accusations. 50 Cent extended the olive branch to his ex girlfriend, tatted up Holly after she took to Instagram to accuse the rap mogul of physical abuse, sharing a photo of an alleged text message conversation. Holly called 50 a manipulating woman beater. And he also shared another allegation, and that was from January 31st of 2015. And he also showed a screenshot of an article posted and published May 30th of 2008. And it says 50 Cent's Long Island. Give me 1 second, guys. And it goes on to say the mother of 50 Cent's child accused the rapper of trying to bomb them to death. I'm sorry, burn them to death after a suspicious fire ripped through their Long Island home earlier today. So he's trying to pull up all this dirt on 50 Cent. And it went on to say the mother of 50 Cent's child accused the rapper of trying to burn them to death after a suspicious fire ripped through their Longwood Island home early today. He tried to kill me and his own child, said Shaniqua Tompkins, 31, who miraculously survived the suspicious 4 a.m. blaze, which leveled the 2.4 million mansion in Tony Dix Hills. Okay. And Ja Rule looks like he got a response, and it says, "What's good, sir? We would love to fund this doc for you and any others you want to create on Icon." And here's the
The dude said, "Yo, I'm here for my
donate
cousin." I said,
in
"Who
2022.
your cousin?" And he said, "Ja Rule." I said, "Well, he busy right now." He said, "He busy doing what?" I said, "He with Puff. They're in the room. They busy. They don't want to be bothered." He said, "Well, I'm going in there." I said, "Bruh, you ain't going in there because he told me they don't want nobody to be bothered him. He tried to bum rush me. I grabbed him and threw him against the piano. When I threw him into the piano, Puff and Ja Rule runs out the room. Puff got his towel, Ja grabbing his towel, but they butt the naked. And so then Ja was like, "Yo, what's going on? Yo, Jay, that's my cousin. He know me well. And Puff was like, "Yo, Jay, what happened?" I said, "He tried to get in the room. I told him he couldn't get in the room." And he was like, he just looked, Puff looked at Ja. He said, "Yo," Ja said, "You ain't want to go in that room because there's a lot of freaking going on." So I opened the door and the dude said, "Yo, I'm here for my cousin." I said, "Who your cousin?" And he said, Ja Rule. I said, "Well, he busy right now." He said, "He busy doing what?" I said, "He with Puff. They're in the room. They busy. They don't want to be bothered." He said, "Well, I'm going in there." I said, "Bruh, you ain't going in there because he told me they don't want nobody to be bothered him. He tried to bum rush me. I grabbed him and threw him against the piano. When I threw him into the piano, Puff and Ja Rule runs out the room. Puff got his towel, Ja grabbing his towel, but they butt the naked. And so then Ja was like, "Yo, what's going on? Yo, Jay, that's my cousin. He know me well. And Puff was like, "Yo, Jay, what happened?" I said, "He tried to get in the room. I told him he couldn't get in the room." And he was like, he just looked, Puff looked at Ja. He said, "Yo," Ja said, "You ain't want to go in that room because there's a lot of freaking going on."
Okay, so I let it play twice, just in case you guys missed the first part of that. So basically, what Big Gene Deal is sharing that when he was, doing security for Puff Daddy, um, Puff Daddy and Ja Rule were in the room with the door closed, and they said, "Do not let anybody come in this room up under any circumstances." So Ja Rule's cousin came over, and he wanted to get in the room where Ja Rule was. So he tried to run and bum rush the room. So Gene Deal attacked him, pushed him against the piano, whatever the case may be. So they heard all the commotion, so they ran out of the room butt naked trying to grab towels to cover up. So allegedly, Ja Rule and P. Diddy were, in that room doing some freaky shit. Okay. So, a lot of people, like I said, probably did not know about this situation. But since Ja Rule wanted to come out and speak on 50 Cent, it is what it is. 50 Cent is making a lot of enemies behind this documentary, but there are a lot of people that are standing behind 50 Cent. We're happy that he put this documentary out there, and shout out to 50 Cent. Okay. So let me move into why 50 Cent is not worried about P. Diddy coming after him for making this documentary. Let's get into that. Like, this is not some fly by night documentary that, 50 did. He took a lot of time and did research for years to make this documentary, okay? He covered all the corners. Let me make sure this is the right one because I have two. Yes, this is the right one. And again, they say it might be a part two. Let me just make sure you guys can see it. Make sure the volume is up. And guys, you know when I share, the volume is a little low, so make sure that your volume is turned all the way up.
I've got three moves that make sure he'll never be able to come after me or my family. First, I personally reached out to the victims' legal teams. The real reason he's not getting out is those buried cases behind the scenes. I provided legal funding for 7 victims who had been silent for years and brought in the top criminal attorneys in the country. Second, I bought up every potential post-release business deal he had lined up. I planned this 2 years in advance, and by the time he got sentenced and still had hope of getting out, every partner had already cut ties with him. Third, I don't just have evidence, I've got backups. This is an entire minefield that's been buried for 20 years. I uncovered every secret from the last 30 years. With testimonies from the victims, we interviewed over a dozen people he tricked, threatened, or violated. You think that's harsh? No. He destroyed other people's lives for decades. I'm just making sure he spends a few extra years in prison for it. I'm not afraid of his people, not afraid of his threats. I know he's still in there fantasizing about a comeback, but the truth is, he's never coming back. You guys don't need to worry about me getting revenge from Diddy. I've got 3 moves that make sure he'll never be able to come after me or my family. First, I personally reached out to the victims' legal teams. The real reason he's not getting out is those buried cases behind the scenes.
Okay, so 50 Cent just laid it all out, what he done behind the scenes to make sure there is no backlash. Obviously, he's going to get it from celebrities who does not want this to be exposed because obviously they played a part in Diddy and the mess, the sexual assaults, the sex parties, and they are just can't be at peace because they are afraid that there's some video of them somewhere that might get out to the public. Hey, Mama Bees, thank you so much for being here. If I forgot to say it, thank you so much for being here. Now, let me move on. Now, if you guys don't know, 50 Cent did an interview with Good Morning America, which is ABC, the day before this documentary was supposed to drop, okay? And that was very, very intentional on Diddy's part, okay? The reason why he decided to do that interview with ABC is because, let me see, let me break this up. And hopefully you guys can see this. Let me go ahead and read this. Finding out 50 Cent agreed to do an interview with ABC News station only because it's one of the few stations they're allowed to watch in prison. He's a menace. So, just for clarification, what this is saying is the reason why Diddy decided to do that interview with Good Morning America is he did the homework, he did the research, and found out that at the prison where Diddy resides currently, the only news channel that they can watch in that particular prison is ABC. So he wanted Diddy to be sitting in front of that TV to watch that interview, and he wanted to, Diddy to know when this documentary was dropping, and he wanted to humiliate Diddy in front of his cellmates. Okay. So that's the reason why he particularly chose ABC to do the interview before the documentary dropped. So when they say 50 Cent is petty, 50 Cent is very, very petty. Hey, Sharon Godbolt, thank you so much for being here. So this is crazy. Very, very intentional about everything that he done. Now, when I tell you that Diddy made so many mistakes and it was so easy for Diddy to, purchase all of the video footage from, the videographers who initially did this with P. Diddy, because Diddy did not pay these videographers. So they were able to sell all of the footage to the highest bidder, which just happened to be 50 Cent. Hey, Simone Wealthy, thank you so much for being here. And she says, wow, 50 is petty. And that's why I don't even understand why these people want to come out and say anything against 50, because, baby, you are opening up a can of worms. But some people gonna try it, and I might get into the Marlon Wayans, but he really do not want that smoke with Diddy. He came out, a little mildly, said a little something, but he does not want that smoke. He really doesn't. So this is the biggest thing that everybody, are talking about right now. The fact that Diddy was so reckless and so just, I don't even know the word to call him, a narcissist, that this guy recorded the conversations between his attorneys. Now, how stupid can you be? So let's go ahead
You're welcome.
and get past this commercial.
Diddy really screwed up, and I'm not referring to his criminal trial, which has him sitting in prison right now, but it has to do with something that happened right before he got arrested. If you've seen the Netflix documentary about Diddy, Diddy the Reckoning, which 50 Cent produced, there's some footage there that had never been seen before. This is a photographer that Diddy hired to follow him around and document his life. That footage ended up going to 50 Cent and his production company, and it's kind of the centerpiece.
Sold to them.
Yes, was the centerpiece of the documentary. So watch this particular scene, because this is where a lot of people feel Diddy really screwed over someone that he should be very, very thankful.
We're losing, but the reality is Mark Agnifilo, the person
You could.
Like, do you guys hear the arrogance in his tone talking to the people who will ultimately keep this man from doing life in prison? And at the time when he was recording all of this video footage, Diddy was planning on making a documentary himself. He was, he knew that people were, planning on making documentaries on him. So he thought that he would get, above the game, in front of the game, and he would make his own documentary. But I think, once he was actually arrested, like a week later, he didn't have the money or the time to pay these videographers. So his karma was that the footage got into the hands of the pettiest man on earth, 50 Cent. Let's
whom he
continue.
was speaking actually won the case for him. This is a huge betrayal. Look, Agnifilo, there is no way he isn't outraged that Diddy was secretly recording him, and this ends up in this Netflix documentary. Mark Garagos, who is my co-host on Two Angry Men, he's represented Diddy for years, and his daughter is part of the Agnifilo defense team, and he was involved in all of this. So in this past weekend's podcast, I pushed him to find out how Agnifilo really feels here. And Mark kind of skirted it some, but I think you get the sense.
Diddy knew that Mark was being recorded, but Diddy didn't tell Mark. Does Mark feel betrayed by Diddy?
I've not talked to Mark about it.
What do you think?
Would feel.
What do you
I
think?
will tell you I'll just tell you, if it was me, I would be more than a little upset. I was more than a little upset when the client didn't know and I was being recorded. I mean, there was a while there where I was meeting clients under bridges, freeway bridges, because I was PTSD over it. So I think, as a lawyer, it is one of the most inviolate oaths that you take to protect the client confidentiality and the client privilege. So I don't know. I haven't talked to Mark, but if I were Mark, I would be out of my head.
Out of my head.
It's incredible. Diddy did two things here. Number one, he betrayed Mark Agnifilo, who, to your point, did so much for him. Obviously, without Mark Agnifilo, may very well be spending the rest of his life in prison. The second thing that he did is, by having a third party that's privy to the conversation, the videographer in this case standing there, there's no privilege, right? Diddy waived that entire privilege. Now, it didn't end up backfiring because it seems nobody knew about it until the end of trial. And what are you going to do at this point? So selfish.
Now, we should say that, remember, Diddy and his team were very upset when they found out that this footage was part of the documentary, and they tried to shut it down. But, you know,
the act of taping it is
already
what
out.
is so
the
awful.
Act of taping it, right?
Without Agnifilo's
Diddy would
knowledge.
say that I didn't authorize that video going out, and the argument they've made is that he's the one who has the right, that he owns that footage. But
that's a copyright issue. That has nothing to do
Well,
with the morality of the whole thing.
Yeah, the morality is clear. That what's unclear is what kind of a deal did he have with the videographer? Because I'll tell you what the sense is that I have based on my
5 days
conversations.
before the arrest.
I think it was a loosey-goosey thing.
Yeah.
And I don't even know they had a written agreement. And if they didn't have a written agreement, the videographer is the one who owns it.
Copyrights cannot be transferred through an oral contract. Nobody, you have to put copyright transfers in writing or they don't count.
And
there you go.
I think that happened here.
Yep.
Stephanie calling in from Brooklyn, New York. Diddy needs to take some accountability. He's more mad at the lawyer than his own actions. That fame all has gone to his head. And 50 did a great job on the documentary. It was a scary watch, sad, and
Absolutely.
if he did have anything to do with everything that they're saying he had stuff to do with, they need to keep him right where he is.
Well, he's going to get out in a couple of years.
Couple of years.
He's going to get out. I mean, he won that case.
All right, guys. So you heard it. Diddy betrayed his own lawyers. Like, nobody trusts Diddy at this point. Nobody trusts Diddy at this point. Like, Diddy will turn on his own kids, his own mom, just anybody. There's no loyalty when it comes to Diddy, and there's no taking any accountability when it comes to Diddy. And there's something else I want you guys to see. Let me just make sure you guys can see it.
Murphy's untimely death. So many people have suspiciously gotten pneumonia when they are in the vicinity of this man. You can only have so many coincidences before it starts to be a trend. So I'm gonna break down everything that I found. I actually went viral last year for this information, so it's pretty compelling. Buckle up. In 2009, Brittany Murphy passed away from anemia and pneumonia at only 32 years old, because that's totally something that normally happens. Oddly enough, she had the same coroner as Whitney Houston, Michael Jackson, Paul Walker, and Kim Porter. That Kim Porter. The Kim Porter that had children and was in a long-term relationship with P. Diddy. Kim Porter also passed away young from pneumonia. When this coroner requested that they reopen Kim Porter's case, he suddenly passed away too. This is Simon Monjack, the man that Brittany Murphy married that in my opinion, was never good enough for her, has a super sketchy past anyways. I could do a whole video on him. So, allegedly, Simon Monjack got in too deep with celebrity trainer Harley Pasternak. Do you remember who that is? That is the man that was sending Kanye messages threatening him, saying that he was going to put him in a mental hospital. Harley Pasternak, super buddies with P. Diddy. 5 months after Britney left this earth, Simon Monjack left in the very same way. The crazy thing about this is there were claims that there were mold in their house or some sort of environmental cause, yet none was ever found. Brittany Murphy's mother continued to live in that house and never had anything happen. Brittany's father has maintained that he believes it was rat unaliving that took out his daughter. After everything has come out about Diddy, and we've seen so many people that end up gone after hanging out with him, because Brittany Murphy was hanging out with him for years. She hung out with him with Ashton Kutcher. Did Brittany see something? Did Brittany know something? Or was this potentially about some money that was owed to Harley Pasternak? Those are my questions. And how do all of these young, healthy people end up getting pneumonia when they in some way have associated with P. Diddy? Did Diddy have something to do with Brittany Murphy's untimely
Okay.
death?
So this is just another scenario where Diddy is linked to somebody passing away from pneumonia and things like that. So I can only imagine, this is all of the stuff that we know about. I can only imagine the amount of things that we don't know that Diddy has done. Okay, and I have one final thing that I would like to share. And this is also something that some things that some of us might not be aware of. Like, I am literally finding out something new every day when it comes to how Diddy betrayed the people around him. One second, guys. Let me see here. Where did it go? Here we go.
They act like it's just jokes and trolling. But if you really know hip hop history, you know there's another layer to this. And that layer is Chris Lighty. Chris Lighty wasn't just a manager, he was one of the most respected executives in hip hop. He helped shape the culture, he built brands, he changed artists' lives, including 50 Cent. To 50, Chris wasn't just business, he was family, he was loyalty, he was one of the good ones in an industry filled with predators and politics. When Chris died, the official story never sat right with a lot of people. Not because anyone pointed fingers directly, but because the narrative felt incomplete. It felt rushed. It felt too neat for a man whose life was everything but neat. And if you pay attention to 50, he has never truly healed from that loss. He never believed Chris got the respect or the truth he deserved. 50 has watched this industry protect certain men, while the good ones get overshadowed, pushed out, or destroyed. He's seen how power works behind the scenes. He's seen how fear has kept people silent, and he's seen how many lies get buried because someone is too powerful to even challenge. So when people say, why is 50 Cent doing this? Why is he going so hard at Diddy? I don't think people realize this may not be about pettiness at all. It might just be about justice. It might be about balance. It might just be about exposing the kind of corruption that men like Diddy create and Chris Lightly never benefited from, but was swallowed by. 50 didn't just make a documentary. He made a statement, a challenge to the industry that thinks it's untouchable. People say 50 is petty. No. 50 moves with purpose. And if you know the history, if you know what Chris Lightly meant to him, you know the patterns of abuse, fear, and manipulation that this documentary exposed, then this documentary starts to look less like entertainment and more like a man that wanted justice to be served and to finally tell the truth about the industry. And so many people wanted these things to just disappear. So yeah, maybe 50 didn't just clown Diddy. Maybe he avenged the people that the industry failed. And Chris Lighty, he might have been at the top of that list. When people talk about 50 making this
All right. So I'm not that familiar with Chris Lighty, but apparently this young lady is. And she said that when he passed away, you know, something with the industry, 50 Cent took it really hard. And he could potentially be avenging Chris Lighty's death, among other people that have been destroyed by this industry, and particularly Diddy, P. Diddy, Sean Combs. Okay. So guys, that's going to be it for this video. If you did not like the video on your way in, please like the video on your way out. And if you just happen to be catching the replay gang, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so that you know each and every time I upload a video. Thanks again for watching, and bye for now.